All right, it is November 2nd. Bitcoin is currently priced a little over its 2021 high at just over 69,000. I think it's around 69 and a half thousand dollars as of today. Today, I wanted to talk about the cost of living. This is a conversation that's been going on um, in various circles. It's a big topic when it comes to the election. They'll speak about inflation. Just wanted to have a discussion about this because I feel like the way it is being discussed is done so very carefully and is deliberately misleading. Of course, if we look at the definition of inflation according to the Department of Labor, inflation can be defined as the overall general upward price movement of goods and services and an economy. The US Department of Labor's Bureau of Labor Statistics has various indices that measure different aspects of inflation. Inflation is not a number. It is not a one number. Inflation is different for people based on their currency, their location, what they need to purchase. If you are just buying, Domino's pizza, your inflation rate year over year might not be very high. If you buy something like baby formula, you've seen prices go up substantially, over the past year. Things like car insurance have double-digit year-over-year growth. Healthcare, these things, people's rate of inflation is it depends. It depends what you're purchasing. If you want to buy a house, that inflation rate's pretty high. Um, so I just think it's insulting when politicians or these, economic entities tell us what the rate of inflation is when obviously it's like telling the whole world what the temperature is. It's like telling everyone in the United States what the temperature is, what the weather is. It doesn't make any sense because it depends where you are. Could be a rainy day. Could be not, could be not the best of times depending on where you are. And we, especially as younger people, I think have to take this extremely seriously. Um, we've seen the US debt approaching $36 trillion. They're printing about $1 trillion every 90 days. This is going to accelerate and continue. Um, and I mean, really, I just don't see a good way out of this. They're just going to print a ton of money, and that money, is going to be chasing more or less the same amount of goods. The price of these things will go up. And if your paycheck is not going up to match that rate of debasement, you're just getting poorer. I mean, like this isn't a conspiracy. Go try to find a house right now. I make what was once considered decent money, and it is hard. It is hard to afford a house. I went to college, I paid off my student loans, I saved the majority of my money. It's extremely difficult. Um, if you're saving in dollars, like this is getting, you just can't do it. People say unaffordable. That it means that you can't afford things. And you know, of course, wealthy people will say, wealthy people don't keep all their money in cash. Obviously, they have money in assets. You could take a look at the S&P 500, 500 to 508, I think, biggest stocks in the United States that fit the Standard & Poor's, qualifications to be included in the index is up what, 22, 23% this year? It's absolutely insane year to date. And over the past 365 days is up 40%. These people are 40% richer than they were a year ago. And if you're not, then, you know, what did they do to earn that money? Nothing. They just they just put the money here. And now they're 40% richer. This inflation money printing benefits them, you know? Because the more money prints it gets printed, the more money flows into the index. And at the top of that index is Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Google, Alphabet shares. Same with real estate. These house prices have gone it's just bananas. And if you're real estate's tricky because you try to ideally save a lot in cash for down payment when you're looking at investing in equities or even something like Bitcoin. Like you can just buy buy $10 of it. You can start off small. You can dollar cost average in with real estate. There's by the time you save up that money for what you think is a good down payment, the price of the house is going to go up way more, and you're just going to be in the same position. Like the price of the house is going up more than you're going to be able to save money, and you're just never going to be able to afford it unless you take you have a smaller down payment, but you got to pay PMI, you got to pay um, just a higher monthly rate, and mortgage rates. Even with Fed rates falling down, mortgage rates are going up. Um, House prices aren't going down anytime soon. And, this all sounds bleak, but I say this to stress like the importance of, not just younger people, but everyone needs to, you can't save in dollars. These things are just, I mean, it's the easiest thing for them to make. They don't have to, there's no work or effort. There's no energy required. There's, it used to be backed by gold, and now it's just a fugazi, you know? You know, I don't want to say all this to, discourage people, but like we got to be real because, if in 5 or 10 years, like who the hell knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to be going on? It'll be almost, you know, 2025 is 2 months away, which means 2030 is 5 years away. You think this $36 trillion is a problem? We're going to be, mid 40s. We could be touching 50 because it's parabolic, it just the growth rate keeps it just keeps going up. And people need to protect themselves. And I know if you look at the price of, the S&P, shares the S&P 500 compared to 365 days ago are 40% more money. Real estate over 4 years or so, 3 years maybe, about the same increase. Are you getting paid 40% more? I doubt it. Maybe. Congrats if you are. um, but I want to bring your attention to a website called pricedinbitcoin21.com. And here you'll see the price of everything, not in US dollar terms, but priced in Bitcoin. So we've seen the S&P 500, like I said, go up about 40% over the past 365 days. 5-year term, I think we're at about 100%. Pretty good trade. I think it's just about doubled. You could see the S&P 500 in Bitcoin terms over the past 5 years is down 69%. So shares the S&P 500, while they've doubled in dollar terms over the past 5 years, is 70% cheaper, almost 70% cheaper if you had Bitcoin. So if you just had Bitcoin instead of dollars, S&P 500 shares are 70% cheaper than they were 5 years ago. They're not double the price like they are in dollars. United States median new house. Over 5 years, we've seen these house prices skyrocket in dollar terms over the past 5 years. In the last 5 years, United States median new house price is down 87% priced in Bitcoin. Gold, the shining star this year, outperforming pretty much everything. I think it's up around 35% or something. I could be a little off on that. But I think we're about 2,800, 2,900. Is that right? Wow. Even with that recent run up, price of an ounce of gold is down 92% over the past 5 years priced in Bitcoin. I can go on and on, but you get my point. This is with the dollar debasing. This is with people putting, really trillions of dollars collectively in all of these assets. And if you have dollars, these things are getting more and more and more expensive. But if you have Bitcoin, you can see that all these things are just getting cheaper, and these assets are performing well over these past 5 years. I mean, it's been, guys, if you have assets over the past 5 years, you look at your portfolio, you see the gains. You make more money doing nothing than you ever have in your life. But those gains, all these things still, when priced in Bitcoin, are just getting cheaper and cheaper because the value of Bitcoin is going up more than all these things, despite them going up drastically in value. So, bring it back to cost of living. Cost of living depends on what you're buying it with.